Hi guys, it's Kara from Goddess to Goodness. Um, I'm just I feel guided to do a little video on this, and it's again like 1 in the morning. So I'm just gonna. You can look at Buddha in my salt lamp over there because I don't know, it's beautiful. I fall asleep to this every night. So, anyways, let's talk. I want to talk about dark energy or heavy energy, negative energy, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Dense energy. Okay, so I would say probably over the past like month or so, I mean besides going like, besides feeling all the energies from like all the, lunar climates and solar climates and planetary alignment and misalignment climates, whatever. As the intuitive and empathic being that I am, I have been, and I've talked about this in some of my videos, but I've been, you know, this past month, especially, well, since like, I gotta say, since like August, I really noticed it so much. But like, my friends, family, even strangers, when I say strangers, I mean like people who aren't directly related to me or like directly in my circle. So this could be like acquaintances, clients of mine, people who just, have been like regulars at places that I've worked or like whatnot. And I've have been approaching me with the, how do I want to put it? You know, they've been coming to me like, oh gosh, like this energy's so heavy. I don't know like what it is today. And I, get approached like, well, I need a reading, like because they have these feelings and whatever. And like I said, we all go through those, energetic shifts and changes, like when, like I said, when certain planets go into retrograde and they come direct, and again, for a lot of us, there's been a lot of like karmic energy being purged, especially because Saturn just recently went direct. So we're ending like 12-year cycles, 35-year cycles, so on and so forth. So the feeling of letting things go sometimes can be, even though it's cathartic and it's wonderful to essentially purge, release, and then heal from something. And again, for some of us, these are things that we didn't even know were going on or that we were holding because we've it's been going on like for me like my entire life there's been things. But there's been, and again, my job here, like my mission, my purpose, and it's not my job, it's my purpose, okay? And I love my purpose. Let me just tell you all that first. I love my purpose and I wouldn't change my purpose for anything in the world. The fact that I can be can serve as a beacon in somebody's darkest hour just literally, it just lights my soul up, okay? Like there's nothing that I would ever wish to do more than do that. But along with that comes the other thing, and that because I'm empathic, I feel deeply right along with you guys. So when I am approached in situations like that, I do I jump into essentially like what you're feeling. I don't mean to jump in, but like I just it's I'm like an antenna, so I just literally pick up on the frequency of what is being put, you know, of what is being put out there. It's essentially like I'm like the receiver, and then like the radio waves come in, and I like pick up a channel or pick up a certain radio station or something like that, if you could think of it that way. So for the past month or so, I've been I've been good, I've been fine or whatever. Lately, within like the last couple of maybe like weeks, and I didn't even realize, I maybe didn't even realize it because it was like, how can I say it? Like it was just very subtle, okay? But like over the like I noticed like last week I was like, I guess like angry or something. Like I don't, and I was like wondering like, where is this anger coming? Like why am I so angry? And I had been picking up on it, and I think it's maybe just like a collective thing because again, when we do release, like purge, release, and then heal from even situations that no longer serve us, there is a certain level of, you know, like maybe sadness, it could be anger, or like mourning, because you might not know why, but you're releasing something that's been what you feel like has been a part of you for, it could be a few years, it could be decades, okay? And not only am I going through my own things, in that respect, and I know what's happening. You know what I mean? Like I know I am aware enough where I question it, and I'm like, okay, so why am I angry? Like let's examine this. Like why am I angry? Okay, I don't know. Okay, so like what's going on? Okay, nothing in my world is making me angry. There's nothing, and again, I'm not, I know I'm very bright and high frequency like a lot of the time, most of the time, but I'm also human. So I have my moments. Things still irk me and, aggravate me and whatever, but I, just because I can address it and release it quickly doesn't mean that I don't still feel that stuff, period, every now and again. So, anyways, back to what I was saying before I go off on a tangent. So, this dense energy or negative energy or heavy energy or however you want to classify it, okay? I've been feeling like, I want to say maybe like a little like disconnected from, my higher frequencies and things like that. And I've been feeling like, I don't want to say not lost isn't the word. I've been feeling like almost like I'm like on a raft in the middle of like an ocean with like no current. And I'm like, all right, like no current and no like air. And I'm like, where am I going? What am I doing? Like, why are things picking up? And it's just been this like stale or stagnant kind of energy. And like what comes to mind, and it's like the hangman card, just like in like limbo. Like, okay. And that's unusual for me because excuse me, I'm usually extremely like motivated, very like driven, and I'm very like self, again, like very self-motivated person. Like I get up and I just do, regardless of like how I feel that day or whatever, I get up and I just do what I gotta do. And I am in a transition right now. Summer is ended, and so therefore my gardening work is coming to a close, and I'm now on a new path in my life, and I'm like, where am I going? And I'm like, starting my practice for Goddess to Goodness, and I'm like, okay, where are the results? Like where am I going? What direction am I headed in? Like what's going on? Okay, so that's my 3D world. That's my what's going on for me. But going back to what I was saying before is like this dense or heavy or like, and I don't necessarily want to call it negative energy. It's just dense and it's just heavy. Okay. And so as an empath, I pick this up, and not only do I pick it up for the moment, but what I didn't realize is that it actually begins to it's like people handing me like, like a weight, and I'm like, okay, and like I don't, it's not that heavy, and then I get like another one and another one and another one, another one, another one, another one, another one, and before I realize it, without realizing it, I am now carrying like a lot of energetic like weight. Okay, and it's not, this isn't like, how can I say it? This isn't, I'm not like throwing shade on anybody or anything or like that. Like, I am completely grateful for the gifts that I have and the gifts that I can share with you guys, okay? Because again, that is my purpose and I love it, and I wouldn't trade it for, I wouldn't trade it for the world, okay? But what I overlooked was that in my practice, because I'm still learning as well. So in my practice, I know I have to cleanse my energy. I do that daily pretty much, guys. So like I just going out like to like going grocery shopping to like a huge supermarket that's like full of people, I will come home and like cleanse. Like I will do like a salt bath. I have spray that I make in or like, in order to like cleanse my energetic field, okay? Because like I said, I'm just an antenna, and I'm like the receiver, okay? Like an antenna, a receiver with a very strong antenna, and I just pick up things and I like absorb things like a sponge. So I met with a friend the other day, and I met this girl not long ago, and she was like instantly part of my soul tribe. Like we identified each other immediately, and she was moving and she was getting ready to leave, and she's like, I just really want to, like, she goes, before I go, I want to come see you. And I'm like, "Ah, holy shit, are you serious?" That just touched my heart and it touched my soul, because we really did just connect. Like she was just a very amazing person. She is, like, we're keeping in contact, but she's moving across country to Colorado, and it's her and her and her soulmate, her twin flame or whatever, and so like we've connected on that level as well, and like she's definitely part of my soul family, and I love her to death, yeah. And anyways, so she is being part of the soul family. She is actually a recognized high priestess in Santeria. And so I've connected with this, spiritual practice, like over the years, like in my own way, because I just don't really identify with any one spiritual practice. I take, whatever resonates with me is what I kind of pick up on. But I, that was like a common factor for the two of us, and like something like we could like talk about, and like, that's kind of what initially connected us. And so the deity that I connect with in that religion is Oshun, which is the divine feminine, and she is the goddess of love. She's essentially like Aphrodite. Okay, she's beautiful and she like loves to laugh and giggle, and it's just, it's awesome. So anyways, that's who she identifies with as well. So anyway, she popped over here, and this was like the day she was leaving, and we were chatting, and like she didn't have a lot of time, so like we were just like, chatting and like talking, between our, witchy spiritual selves, and it just, she said something. Now, when I first started Goddess to Goodness, I started titling my things "The Universe Speaks." Okay, and the reason I titled my videos with that moniker is because I wanted people to identify with the fact that, like, sometimes the universe has messages for us, and sometimes we either don't want to see them, we are too enmeshed in the 3D world to see them. Sometimes we push them away as like we are taught that like that kind of stuff is crazy, or it's like, oh, like it was just a coincidence. So she says to me, and I don't know how it came up essentially, but she just kind of like blurts out and she's like, I feel like your aura needs cleansing. And I was like, wow, what? Like, okay. And I'm like, what made you say that? And it wasn't, I didn't look at it as like a bad thing, but I wanted to know more. I'm like, okay, like, tell me more about this message because I don't often get messages from people. I do get messages from the universe, but I don't often get them like that, just straight out, like, just randomly, like, your aura needs cleansing. And I'm like, okay, like, what made you say that? She's like, I don't know. She's like, I just feel like I had to say it to you. And I totally understand that because I walked up to strangers and said that exact same thing. Like, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm supposed to say this to you because that is my guides or their guides speaking through me in order to get a direct message through to the person who needs to hear it. That's what I do with tarot cards is like I'm actually just my guides or your guides or whatever, the universe is sending direct messages through me to deliver to the people who need to hear it. And that's what I'm realizing more and more is like I don't necessarily need the cards to do it because then I get things like this where I just have to share. So this is one of those just with no cards. So she says this to me and I'm like, wow, taking my own advice. And she's like, well, I don't know. I feel like I just had to say that to you. She goes, do you protect yourself? Like, the way she worded it was like, do you protect yourself from, like, from energies? And I go, well, yeah. I said, I do. I said, like I have like, if you guys see me, I have like a pouch that I wear that has like certain like crystals in there in order to like, cleanse my energetic field and my auric field and things like that. And it just, like I said, because I'm an open receiver, I have to, be aware that there are like energies that I might not necessarily want to take on or bring home with me or whatever. And so she says, well, you are aware that you have to protect yourself. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And she goes, well, it's not always about that. Like wearing your crystals, sometimes you just have to like, do like a spiritual flush. And then she reminded me, like, you are so sensitive. And she's like, and I don't think of myself this way, but when she says it, it's like blows my mind. She's like, you're extremely powerful, like in the fact that you are just such an intense receiver. She's like, I don't think you realize that you pick up things without even knowing it. She goes, you could just walk through a place and you might not interact with anybody, but you could just walk through a place and these energies will literally attach themselves to you. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, so it was like the universe just kind of reminding me to shield myself energetically from like any dense or heavy energies that I may not want necessarily attached to me. And so she's like, along with what you do, you also have that where, yeah, you may shield yourself from, taking on energies of like your loved ones and things like that and like whatever. And you may be able to like keep your energetic field separate, but you might not realize that there are energies out there that will literally just like attach themselves to you, in a non-contact sort of situation. And I was like, oh wow, holy shit. So isn't this my guide speaking through this human being? So I directly hear it and now that I think back, they have been sharing this with me and trying to get me to pay attention. But again, I'm a human being and I have a 3D world and I have things that distract me on the day to day. And I have, those things that like make me not listen sometimes. So here is like my guides literally saying it through another human being's mouth. So I like cannot ignore it. Like there's no way I can ignore this message. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, thank you for telling me that. I needed to hear that. And now on top of it, she says, this is what really blew my mind. Now, you know that when you do energetically cleanse yourself, you also have to add. And I'm like, yeah. And now I know this is universal law. This is the law of balance. If you cleanse something or bring something back to zero, you then have to add as well. Okay. So it's that balance of that yin and that yang. If you're going to cleanse something of a frequency or of an energy, you then have to add something back in to that negative space in order to have that positive and negative charge. It's that reciprocating flow. And now I know this. Logically, I know this. My brain knows this. But the way she said it impacted, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, she's like, so when you energetically cleanse yourself, you should be adding in the light as well. So if you're going to cleanse the dark, you want to bring in that light. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it was like something I intellectually know, but it was something that like spirit has been like my spirit guides, however you guys want to look at it, the universe. It's something that I have literally been ignoring, and they've been telling me, and that's part of my self-care. Okay. As an empath, as an intuitive, as an energy healer. Okay. So the reason I'm sharing this with you guys is because I'm not the only one. Just because I am more in tune with energy, in the flow of energy, and I am more in touch with those abilities and that side of myself. This goes for everybody because we all have that, and we all live, whether you know it or not, whether you realize it or not, we all live by that energetic balance, okay? Because you can't have a positive flow without a negative flow. You can't have positive energy and not have negative. You can't have light without dark. You can't, okay? And everything in the universe goes like that. You can't have daytime without nighttime. You can't have summer without winter. It goes on and on and on. And the reason that I'm guided to tell you this is, and what they're saying to me right now is karma, mention karma, because again, we talk about karma all the time, like, oh, well, don't do that, karma's a bitch, karma will get you, blah, 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 blah. I don't necessarily, that's not really how karma works. But where things may have been in lack before in regards to karma, like spiritual energetic debts that you maybe had to pay off, to work off, to get through, lessons you've had to learn, those will be balanced out by abundance, by blessings, by spiritually adding to, by energetically adding to your how do they want me to say this? Energetically adding to your personal universe. Okay. So we all have this. And again, guys, I whether you realize you're in touch with it or not, we are all intuitive beings. We are all empathic. Okay. Some of us, yes, more than others. Just like you might be a better skier than me, which I've only skied twice in my life and I was terrible, and I'd love to learn if anybody wants to teach me. But anyways, but you know what I mean? Like, somebody might be a better chef than somebody else. Somebody might be better at artwork than they are at math. Somebody might be, better at this and better at that, whatever. That's the point, is like, just because I am very much aligned with that in myself and in my life's purpose and in my soul's purpose, doesn't mean that you all don't have those same abilities. So somebody might be a fantastic chef but be really terrible at math, but it doesn't mean that one can't do somebody might be an astrophysicist and be a terrible chef. Doesn't mean that the mathematician can't cook and that the chef can't do math. Okay. we all have the things that we flourish in, and then we have the things that maybe, we could still do, but we just don't flourish in it. Our brain just doesn't gravitate towards that. And whatever it is. So, again, I digress. So, anyways, the reason I'm putting this out there is because I feel it's very important for me to share with you guys that where the things that you are doing in your life, okay, whatever you're doing in your life, I'm not going to give examples because this will resonate for you on how it's going to resonate. But wherever you are in life, whatever you're doing in life, where you put out or give out, okay, and like actually extend your energy out into the world, right? In whatever way that is. Guys, please make sure that you are also adding back in to yourself, okay? And this is part of not only spiritual self-care, okay? And this is, again, why this is one of the reasons I started this practice. I started Goddess to Goodness is to teach spiritual self-care. And I just got a huge lesson in it for myself because I was putting so much out, and again, when people come to me and are like, oh, the energy's heavy or this and that, and like, what, yada, 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 I put out my energy very much so because I want to. I absolutely want to. Like, I will tell people exactly the messages that I'm being guided to give them at the moment in order to help them rise up, because that is the point of Goddess to Goodness, is to help others rise, okay? And I absolutely wholeheartedly believe that. But on the other effect, where I was giving out so much, something has to come in order to take that space. And what was coming in was dense and heavy energies. And that I just feel was like universal, dense, heavy energies, because I had this like space now, because I like gave out this positive light energy. Something had to come in and like take its place. And it was definitely some very dense, very heavy energies. And now the craziest part about this, guys, and I'm just going to add this in at the end because I found it amazing. Not only did her message resonate with me so heavily, so highly, okay, so it made such an impact on me. And again, we all have our own ways of spiritually and energetically protecting ourselves, but she gave me a couple recommendations according to her practices, her spiritual practices. And she's like, if you go get this, and that, it can help to create that like energetic, bubble around you so you don't absorb or take in those negative energies or heavy energies or dense energies. So the solution is like to go to the Botanica. We have, I think, only one in Buffalo. So I went to the Botanica that day and I said to the guy, he's like, are you looking? And I'm like laughing because I'm like, here I am, this white girl in this like Botanica. And he was probably like laughing in his head, like, what is she doing in here? So I'm like, well, I need, it's a eggshell powder. And I'm like, cascarilla. And he's like, okay. And he's like, anything else? And I'm like, no, I'm just going to look around because I'm explorative like that. And I'm like, I know there's something in the store that I will use and that I will find so interesting to bring home with me. And so I asked him, I said, I do want to clean my house and energetically cleanse my house. I had bought this oil, not from here, but from like a different place. And it was like for peace and protection in the home. And I added it to like my cleaner, and I do that. I do it for friends and I do it for clients as well, where I like energetically cleanse houses. And so he was like, he sets down a certain oil and he's like, well, here, he's like, this is to cleanse the negative energy and send it back. And I'm like, well, I don't necessarily want to send anything back to anybody, I'm like, or to anything or like whatever. I just want to get rid of it. And he was like, okay. And he's like, okay, well then you want this one. And he's like, This is for energy vampires. Like, it gets rid of negative energy. He goes, but you know that there's energetic vampires out there. And I'm like, yeah. Like, and I really still didn't get it. And he was like, okay. He goes, but you understand that, like, certain energies can attach to you. And dense energies, negative energies, they can attach to you. And he said, you do understand that you wanna that is that you need to protect yourself. So now here are my spirit guides saying it again. Because I had put out all that positive, all the light, and left this like empty space energetically, it was leaving space for energetic vampires. And what that means is, like, it's just there are places that will do that. It'll just like drain your energy. It'll pull from your energy. It'll just pull the positive energy, and it's like positive and negative ions. That's like how I like think of it. It's like electricity almost. There are people who do that, and they do it most likely unknowingly, okay? And we've all known those people. You get around like certain people, like either at work or in a store or something like that, and you're like, why am I so drained? And we all have our own versions of that, and like, you guys know what I'm talking about. We just have it on different levels, and you might associate it with different ways. But the and again, guys, keep in mind that the people who essentially are siphoning energy from either places, people, or things, or from the environment, people who do that, they don't know they're doing it. Okay, so guys, like, and I hate to use the word energetic vampire. I really don't like that. I don't like it at all. But for lack of a better word, I have to use that. But just understand, guys, that the people who are energetic siphons, okay, they don't realize that they are doing that. They are not doing it intentionally. And I'm going to just say, not in all cases, but I'm going to say in like most cases, the people who do that don't logically or consciously understand that that is what they are doing, okay? Or that's what their energy field is doing, okay? Because again, it's 90% of the time, it's not a conscious thing. It's like an energetic thing where they just burn through energy. They are depleted of it, so therefore they draw it from people who overly exude high amounts of positive energy, okay? And that's really all that is. It's just they're replacing their lack of energy by drawing or siphoning off of others. And that could be places, there could be very high vibrational places that they visit, and they suck as much energy as they can out of it, okay? There could be activities where it's like very high vibrational, and they like suck as much energy as they can out of it. And then there are just, and then there are just people who do it to other people because that's just how their energy field works, okay? But anyways, let me not go on that tangent either. That'll be a different video. But anyways, guys, the point is Spirit is asking me to share this with you guys because Spirit wants you to know that spiritual self-care is extremely important. And that where you are giving of yourself, of your essence, of your divinity, of your energy to anything, to anybody, to however you give that out into the world, you have to replace, you have to then add, okay? You have to add back in for yourself, okay? And so again, guys, if you want, if you have any questions about how to do that exactly, please hit me up and just message me and let me know, and I will be so very glad to like guide you through that process. And again, this was something that I knew very much logically and consciously, but it took my spirit guides to communicate through a person I've only known for a few weeks, and then through a complete stranger. a complete stranger at the store. And he was like, well, all you need is this. And I was like, yeah, but I'm going to buy these other 50 things because I could totally use them. And so he wasn't even trying to like sell me stuff or like whatever. He just literally could like, I walked in and he could see it on me. So, anyways, guys, long story short, not really long story short, but the moral of the story is that I ended up coming home. I cleansed my house, energetically cleansed my house. I removed all the dense and heavy and oppressive energy, okay? And I did that in an energetic cleanse of my home. And then I also did the energetic cleanse of myself. And then after that, I also added back in, okay? So after I energetically cleansed everything, I then called in all the light, love, abundance, friendship, positivity, like, and then I added back in, okay? So, like I said, guys, if you do need advice or methods on how to incorporate this into your spiritual self-care practice, please, please, please message me. Like I said, I love to teach, I love to help, and I love you guys so very much, okay? So, all my love to you guys. Good night, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.